stock photography, Adobe stock? Is it hard work or is it smart work? This is a great conversation to have because in most businesses that I tend to find, and I've said this before, you can't really do the smart work until you've done some of the hard work. At least, maybe not you, but somebody has to do the hard work, right? Somebody has to know where are the pitfalls, where are the mistakes being made. I made a 40-minute video 3 days ago kind of showing literally smart work being manifested, right? And what I mean by smart work, and you guys could go ahead and watch the video. I'll leave a link in the description, but the thumbnail looks like this. It's like this blue automate 4,000 plus images. This is pretty much, at least from what I could understand, this is the manifestation of smart work. And let me kind of explain what I mean by that. Imagine my job was to cut down trees in a forest, right? And that was my job. I had, let's say, a whole acre of forest that I had to cut down every single tree. And I have options, right? I could use a screwdriver to cut down these trees. I could use a hammer. I could use an axe, right? Or I could use a chainsaw. What would be the smartest way to cut down these trees? Well, I could learn all about trees. I could, measure the trees. I can measure the density. I can, attempt to bang the trees with my hammer. But really, it would take me centuries to cut down those trees with all the tools, except for the chainsaw. So people would look at me, if they saw me using a screwdriver and a hammer trying to cut down a tree, eventually it will work, right? Eventually it will take maybe 1,700 years to cut down those trees. Eventually it would work, but people would look at me and they'd say, this guy's stupid. What is he cutting a tree down with a screwdriver and a hammer for? Now, if I have the chainsaw, I could cut down those trees literally maybe a month. I could cut down all those trees, maybe less, right? And that's the perfect example of smart work versus hard work. Now, in the concept of trees, it's pretty obvious. Everybody knows that you're either going to use an axe or a chainsaw to cut down a tree, right? Nobody uses a screwdriver. Everybody knows that. In this business, it's really no different. We create images, we upload them to stock photography sites, and we generate sales. So ideally, wouldn't we want to do it the best way possible, right? I made a statement in my yesterday's video that you guys may have seen, and I'm not talking about this one because at the time that I'm recording, it's going to be a different video, but in my last video, which is yesterday's, I mentioned that last year, for an hour's worth of work, I could do the same amount of work now in about 2 minutes, right? And get the same output, the same, if not better quality, and save literally 58 minutes, but the same exact output. So, if not better. So why is that? Is it hard work? Am I really working harder? The answer is no. Now, I don't want to be confusing here because you guys have heard me say in a lot of other business models, you have to do the hard work, right? But this is an opportunity where smart work makes sense, right? Let's look at print on demand way before AI started, right? What did we do? Me personally, I use Canva. I would create different images, create different texts, do my keyword research, and put the design up. I would tag, I would title, I would do the research on the tags. I would do pretty much everything involved. Now, some people can argue that that is hard work, and indeed it is, because you're doing every step of the way the work. Now, imagine if I had a machine that could do it all for me. Isn't that smart work? It is. If I choose to reject the machine and I state, no, I'm going to do it myself, am I not choosing to do the hard work instead of the smart work? The answer is yes, right? So for me, in this business currently where things stand, is I'm choosing to do the smart work. I've already done the hard work. And when I say the hard work, people are thinking that it's only the manual work, and that's not the case. I created the Super Stock AI course to kind of share, and I'll just kind of pull it up here. I shared everything that I could possibly have learned over the years that I've been doing this, right? So I have over 100 videos, probably over 120, but over 100 videos on this website where I shared literally every step of the way, from creation to the softwares that I'm using to the upscale system, everything that I'm doing, especially manually, how I would do it, right? And now I have the ability to use a machine or a few machines to do it for me, to do the work for me. And like I said, I showed it all in this video, this 40-minute video, because it's pretty lengthy. There's a lot to it. But I use a machine to do all the work for me, or most of the work. In terms of the work that's being done now, all I'm doing is I'm giving the machine instructions as to how to do it, right? Now, something that I would urge you guys to do is not necessarily have to use the machines. I think everybody's on their own journey with this business, and everybody has their own choice of what they want to do and what they don't want to do. But when you're in a business, it doesn't have to be this one. It doesn't have to be stock photography. Look for the shortcuts. Look for the things that you could do that will help you save time, money, and effort. And I'll give you an example. I could hire virtual assistants to sit here and create a whole bunch of images for me on Midjourney, right? To upscale them for me, to take them and upload them for me, to tag them and title them, right? And submit them. I could pay people to do that. But it wouldn't be smart because there are machines that do the exact thing for me at a much, much, much cheaper price. Less than a tenth, right? So if I hire somebody in the Philippines, let's just say I'm paying them $500 a month, and that's, a decent income, not too much, but not too little, $500 a month to do that work. I can hire a machine or utilize a machine to do the exact same thing for me for $50 or less a month and make that happen, right? So in that case, it's smarter to use the machine, right? So these are different examples of like every business you're in. Doesn't matter if it's Shopify, doesn't matter if it's, print on demand. There are ways that you can make things easier on yourself. Everybody who's been on print on demand, you guys know, like for example, using templates, a template of a certain t-shirt design, right? Where you go in and you just change the words and you change the colors and then you export the design and upload it. That's a perfect example of you doing smart work versus the hard work. It's not like you're creating the absolute design from scratch. Let's break things down even further. Uploading a certain font into Canva and using certain fonts. It's not like you're drawing out the letters manually. That's the difference between doing smart work and doing the hard work. Now, once again, I've stated this, that I've done the hard work before I've done the smart work in pretty much every business. Not because I want to, but that's kind of how the cookie crumbles, right? When I do my hard work, it's not because I choose to do hard work, but it's more importantly because I'm not aware of the different opportunities that are out there. As soon as I become aware, and really awareness only comes with being in the business for a longer period of time, then I could actually succeed in that area to do the smart work, right? I know what pitfalls to avoid. I know what mistakes to avoid. I know all these kind of things. So that's kind of where the ideas kind of lie in my brain. And for me, I've never really seen a business that I could fully automate the way I can now with stock photography. In fact, if I look at all the other businesses that I'm running, I have a few Shopify stores. I have a few e-commerce sites that are not Shopify stores. I have print on demand, even YouTube in general. All these things are a lot of manual labor. But stock photography is one of those things that there virtually is none for me now. It's a very, very small amount compared to what it used to be. In order for me to prepare and create 1,000 different images, I had to sit down, create every single one of them, choose between the images that were good and bad, take the ones that were good, upscale them twice over, once on the platform, once using an exterior software, a third-party software, then take the images, put them up on Adobe or Vecteezy or, whatever site I'm using. Then I have to title them, then I have to tag them, then I have to publish them. That whole step of 1,000 images for me can be done now in just a few minutes of clicking a few buttons if you amalgamate that time. So if you add up the amount of time that I'm clicking just a few buttons for the machines to do the work for me, I'm essentially automating the process, doing less and less work, but being paid more and more for less effort. So that's a perfect example of smart work versus hard work. And for a long time, I personally have been looking for an opportunity where I can sit down and literally just click a few buttons and turn that into income. Almost like printing money. And for me, this is one of those business models where it makes complete sense to do so, right? Even when I had to hire virtual assistants, I still had to train them. I still had to tune in with them every day. I still had to communicate with them. I still had virtual assistants. Some of them couldn't be trusted. Some could, right? I had to gauge whether they were good people that would work for me, trustworthy people. There's a lot of things I had to do to quote unquote automate the process. And this is for print on demand, which is really not that resource intensive and really not that difficult overall. It's actually relatively easy if you compare it to a lot of the other businesses that I'm involved in. So for me, this is one of those businesses that I look at this and I say, you know what? I really could generate over 100,000 images a year doing this. And it wouldn't actually be too difficult because once again, if I can create 1,000 images with just a few clicks, let's just say it takes me 4 minutes worth of clicking, which it really doesn't, but let's just say it does. 4 minutes worth of clicking to generate 1,000 images, and those 1,000 images could be generated and uploaded and tagged and the whole thing over a day or two. Well, then I only have to do that about 100 more times. And to be honest, that's really not that much time overall to get to the level that I want to get to, right? To generate the income that I want to generate and to achieve the goals that I want to. But remember what I said about goals, and I've said this since, the beginning of probably around October of last year, prior to the new year. I said the only way to really set a goal is to focus on what it takes to achieve it and then kind of set the work as the goal. Don't set the result as the goal, but set the work. Because if you set the work as the goal, then it's kind of achievable, right? Because you're not focused on the outcome, but you're focused on the resources that are used to get there. So for example, if I have a goal to learn how to do a handstand for 5 minutes straight, I have certain workouts and certain things that I need to do to be able to achieve that. And so for me, I would sit down and I would say, okay, these are the workouts I need to accomplish each and every day. This is the form of recovery. This is the form of nutrition that I need to do. I'll make those the goals as opposed to the actual achievement. And if I do the things that I'm supposed to do every day, well, then it's only a matter of time until the goal is achieved. But making the action, that's the goal, the achievement of the action, not so much the output, because the output I can't necessarily control, right? I can upload images. I can upload tens of thousands of images, but I can't necessarily control that person on the other side of the screen. I have a high probability that they'll download and they'll purchase and they'll do everything, but I can't really control it. So therefore, I don't focus on the outcome, but I focus on the work required to get there. And that's kind of the fastest way to achieve them. So I figured I'd make this video because this is one of those kind of businesses out there for me right now that I could honestly say that it's really one of those things that don't require that much effort. And I'm pretty much as close to printing money as possible. That's really how close I'm getting. And everybody can do the same. I put out the information. This video is for free. Completely for free, this video. Obviously, the tools cost money. Those aren't free. But the video itself was completely free, and the information is out there. As far as the course, and I know people are curious about the course is just where I share every single piece of my experience in kind of an amalgamation of over 100 plus videos, into a website where you guys can access that kind of information. And if anything that I realize or needs to be updated or content, it's all there. So everything that I've learned, this is essentially what the course is. It's like a library of all the information that I've kind of accumulated over time, things I learned what not to do, things I learned to do, certain software, certain things, and it comes out really good, because the information is useful. But in terms of, succeeding as fast as possible with businesses, obviously you're going to have to delegate, especially if you want some scale with that business. So if you want some really high level of success beyond the one-man team level, right? Well, there's only way to do that. You have to involve more people. But this is one of those businesses, like I said, where honestly, you really don't need to involve people in this. It could just be you, some software. You're managing the software, but the software is doing all the work for you. And it's never been that possible before. Like literally, if we look back a year, everything had to be done manually, aside from creating the images. And if we go back even a year before that, there was no AI tools that you can utilize that would actually be good enough to be deserving onto a platform like this. But now there are. There's enough resources out there to literally create a business from scratch and print money, like I said. And that's kind of as close to as it gets to printing money. So hopefully this video was helpful, and hopefully everybody takes the opportunity out there and succeeds in this business, however you want to do it. Whether you want to use software or not, perfectly fine. Everybody's at their own level, their own decision making, and you can, get as far as you want to really with this business. But it's just tremendous to me how amazing the opportunity is out there, and I just figured I'd share that. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully you guys are out there working hard, and I'll see you guys soon, all right? Peace out, bye.